Hey everybody, this is Perry with Premier Guitar here in Nashville, Tennessee. Today we are talking to Adam from fu-tone.com about some new stuff that you guys got going on. What's new?
What's new? What's new and what's happening? Lots new and lots happening. So fu-tone, our core is the Tremolo big blocks and Tremolo upgrade parts mostly. We've been slowly easing in new stuff all the time. So we have a new line of colored titanium parts, which are pretty cool. When I say parts, I mean items like the string lock screws, the saddle inserts, saddle mount screws, nut clamping screws. So the colored titanium parts have been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
doing red, purple.
How slick is that? What a cool little pop. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks.
So how many colors are you guys doing?
So we're doing regular silver for we do stainless titanium. You have the standard silver color. We launched red, we launched purple, and by the time this comes out, we'll have the new black titanium out on the market as well.
Sick.
Which is cool because a lot of guys, especially with the black bridges, I personally like, a two-tone bridge, black bridge with stainless parts or gold bridge. Some guys like that traditional look of the black. So I'm doing all the parts that we normally replace in black, but in black titanium. So it's stealthy, it looks traditional, but it's titanium. It sounds great, it functions great. Doesn't corrode, doesn't strip, doesn't break.
Wow. All right. So I know I've seen at NAMM and other places, y'all's big block. You do that in a couple of different kinds of metal. Could you describe for me maybe the tonal differences between not only titanium, but some of the other metals that you use?
Sure. So big block, meaning the block underneath of the tremolo, we make a bigger version. So the big block in general, by increasing the size and the quality of the materials, you're going to get more sustain, more definition, more ring, more tone, more everything. All we're doing is pushing that vibration back out into your guitar. It's like taking the blanket off of it. And we do demo videos on the FU site where we'll demo clean and dirty, different pickup configurations of all three materials. Our materials are brass, copper, and titanium. So to verbally describe the tonal characteristics, which I can, but it's kind of like describing colors. Right. It's like, well, yeah, this is purple, but is it like a dark purple? Like this is a metal flake purple, but I'll do my best for that. So brass is big and warm and round and filling and very sustainy. When I think of big brass, round, warm, you think of guitar tones like Eddie Van Halen or Warren DeMartini, that warmth. The copper is very similar to brass, but it has kind of a scooped midsection. Same thing, lots more sustain, lots more tone in general, but it gives you like that nice throaty sustaining. But then the titanium, which is completely different. And there's a misnomer for titanium. People will call me or email me and say, I got brass, but I really want titanium. And they think titanium's better because it costs more. Titanium's not better or worse because it costs more. It just costs more because it's an expensive material. So, and it's what's right for you and your guitar and what you're after. So for titanium, I have guys like Phil Collin or Michael Wilton from Queensryche. When you think of that same thing, lots of sustain, big, long, heavy sound, but with a really unique note separation, a really unique clarity. So when I hear those guys and they play that big open G chord and it's going through racks of stuff and tons of things, yet you can hear every note of that chord clear as a bell.
That is so interesting. How did you, just out of curiosity, kind of a side note, how did you come into playing with different types of metal for different, goals and sustain? Because it's so interesting, most trems come with kind of a small little, piece of metal. It makes sense to me scientifically that a larger piece of metal with more mass would produce more sustain. I mean, that's brilliant. How did you come to play around with that?
Thank God they come with the small one. That's my space. The whole premise, same as the big block, you know, it's just like, what else are we leaving out of this equation? What else can we do? That's why we keep trying different components and different materials. And I said one day, man, I bet titanium would sound really cool. Let's try it. You know, and I tried it. I was like, I can't believe this. And it worked. And that led, you know, let's try copper. You know, and it's fun experimenting, different materials, different parts. And the client roster of FU Tone, the artist roster, which thank God they're spectacular, and it's the who's who of guitar players. They're a great sounding board for me. I could call certain guys up and say, hey man, I just did a naval brass nut. You know, I just did a titanium nut or naval brass inserts or this or that. You know, can I bounce it off you? And I'll send them prototypes, or I'll meet them out on the road or fly out. And I A/B with them on their guitars, and we just run with it.
Not a bad R&D team.
No, it's great. It's a lot of fun. I just mentioned Phil Collin from Def Leppard, who's one of our bigger artists. I love him, and I'm doing a live thing with him later today. But I remember trying lots of new stuff with him throughout the years. He was always very open to. I'd be like, I got something new. Can we try it? He's like, yeah, let's go. And I'm like, thank God. And there's a picture on the site, I think it's on his page in the FU-Tone site, where we were A-Bing for the first time the FU Tone acoustic bridge pins. So I make pins for acoustic guitar, same thing, titanium, brass. You know, take that piece of plastic out of your guitar. That plastic is just sucking the vibration up and keeping it. All I'm doing is pressing it back out. So, and there's a shot of us in the basement of a theater, you know, finding a quiet stairwell to test acoustic guitar parts.
How interesting. Yeah, wow. What a fun way to customize your guitar and get the most out of it. I guess let's tell everyone where they can go to find out more about your products, and then also maybe let them know where they can buy them. Or do you do direct sales from your website?
Yeah, all direct through the website. It's FU-Tone, TONE.com, FU-Tone.com. And you could just surf through the categories. There's parts for all kinds of tremolos, Ibanez tremolos, Godot, Strat trems, all the locking trems, you know, like I said, acoustic parts. There's different parts.
And then FU Tone makes, you guys make a trem system as well, right?
Yeah. So our current trem is called the FU2. So I don't know if you can see it good there.
Yeah. That's so slick.
Thanks. That's the FU system.
Dude, I got to listen to these shootouts now. I'm so interested. So do you find that like really high gain, like metal dudes are playing the copper more?
You know, it's funny. Yes. But I'll steer them there because they don't know where to jump in. They're like, what do I must have titanium. I'm like, you might, but I think you'd be happier with copper. And it depends on the wood of the guitar too.
Sure. Right.
So, you know, my main guitar, my number one guitar that I play at home has brass in it because that's what sounds best in that guitar.
Sure.
You know, that's the sound.
It's, you know, my whole life I've heard of different, maybe people might play with their, like a nut or a saddle or something like that metal, but you're really taking it to the edge. That's pretty cool.
That's where it started. I mean, you look a lot younger than me. So if you think back to the 70s, you know, 70s and early 80s, before guitar hot rodding actually became a thing, there was two big upgrades back in the day for your Les Paul or for your Strat, because that's all anyone played. You could either get a brass nut or a replacement pickup. Other than that, you played what came from the factory. You know, one Les Paul, please. You know, right. Nobody cared. But that whole thing, you know, when the 80s started happening, and you know, when Eddie Van Halen started chopping up guitars, taking pickups from here and bridges from there, and you know, like, this guitar doesn't do what I want it to do. I'm going to make it do what I want to do. Forget that he was the sick player he was.
Right, right.
I mean, he never gets the credit as the innovator of the guy that changed, you know, there'd be no Super Strat had there not been a Frankenstein.
All right, well, guys, stay tuned for more videos and all that fun stuff. Keep checking premierguitar.com, and don't forget to scoot over to fu-tone.com, and you can hear demos of all this stuff and maybe get some shiny new parts for your guitars. Right on, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, man.